Welcome back to the Rise Personal Training Podcast. Coach Wyatt, back with Coach Chris.
What's up, everybody?
And today we are talking about the key components to fat loss. So we did a similar talk about, building muscle gain. We want to just cover the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we are looking at fat loss, we're really just going to cover three pretty simple components. Mm-hmm. And it's just important that when you set a goal, I want to lose some fat, that you understand these components. Okay.
Right.
So jumping right into it, number one, we're going to talk about having a steady and consistent calorie deficit.
Yep.
Okay. So Chris, take it off.
So the idea of everything is you want to eat less and then you want to burn more. Mm-hmm. So when you're eating, you're having less calories coming in, and then obviously you're moving more, so you're going to have more calories being expended or going out. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing, I talked about this with Ryan on a couple other podcasts, but it'll be portion control. Mm-hmm. You're not overeating. You're making sure that you're not eating too much of too many things, right, so that, again, you're not having too many calories coming in. And then you're cooking your meals because you have more control over what's being put into the meals, whether it's high calorie, low calorie, and whatnot, versus going out. You have way less control because you're not going out and making a whole bunch of different requests because we don't like those people.
It's like you get a lot more, you got to stay away from the processed foods when you're out. You can look at the calories of some meals you get. It'll say right there. Before you know it, you get something, you're like, that was delicious. You're like, wow, that was...
It's like I had Chili's the other day, and the triple dipper, it was so good. I looked at the calories, and I was like, I'm not eating that again for a few months.
You're like, and now the next 2 days, I got to eat nothing.
It was like 1,800 calories.
Yeah, so it's like, before you know, again, one meal is a lot of people's like entire daily allowance for calories.
Yeah.
Okay, so just imagine that's one meal out of the day. You're snacking still, all that stuff. These calories quickly add up. And then before you know it, you are in a caloric surplus. So that is why we're putting on weight. That's why we keep gaining weight, okay? So we have to figure out what switches, what changes can we make to have the calorie deficit kind of be in our life, be in our lifestyle, because it needs to be sort of day in and day out here.
Right.
Because we're really trying to just compound this deficit so that each and every day the body's slowly burning more, and then we eventually reach, okay, now we're losing a lot more fat. We're getting closer to our goals and everything. Mm-hmm. But if you're just yo-yoing and you're eating a bunch one day, you're not eating a lot and all that stuff, it levels out to the point where you're not really going to be, losing weight. So it's like step one, you need to be controlling the calories coming in.
Right.
Now, another part of this in terms of like a calorie deficit is the moving more aspect. So I always say that the eating aspect is the foundation. Eating less is the foundation of a calorie deficit, and then the moving more is more of a tool, right? So you have to make sure you are eating less. That's going to control the bulk of, creating this deficit. And then when you're moving more, it's just added calories you're burning, okay? Now this is any additional activity, okay? So we're talking walking, running, jogging, hiking, swimming. So something, typically it works best if it's something you enjoy, right? So if you're kind of forcing yourself to do an activity, I see people running, I'm going to go run, but it hurts your knees. You don't enjoy it. It's like, but you enjoy hiking, you enjoy going out. Get that activity in there. Okay. There's much more longevity. Okay. We've talked about that a lot. So there's much more longevity to it. And we're really trying to find out what is the consistent thing you can do here.
Right.
Okay. So when we're talking component number one, calorie deficit, you need to be trying to eat a little bit less than normal.
Right.
Okay. And then the more movement you can get, the better here. Okay. And this ties into our next component we're going to talk about, which is going to be the importance of strength training, the importance of resistance training while you're on a calorie deficit, right? So when we are eating less food, we're trying to lose some fat. Typically, we're going to see some muscle loss with that. So we see it's super common now, right? With the GLP-1, with the semaglutide, all that stuff, where these people are just tanking in weight. They're losing a bunch. But that's the thing. They're losing a lot of weight.
Yeah.
When they start doing their measurements, what do they see?
They see the muscle drop off and the fat drop off. But we would like it to be more fat than muscle.
Right.
And we see a lot of both happening for most people.
So it's a pretty extreme here where you're not eating. Really, a lot of these people are like, oh, I'm not eating anything now. Like I barely eat one meal or something because I'm just not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
And so the body loves to just shed, the muscle first and then a little bit of fat.
Right.
And so what we have to do here is we have to complement the calorie deficit with something, we know we're going to lose some muscle. What pairs with that so that we don't lose that much muscle or we even build some muscle? Resistance training.
Yep.
Okay. So you got to make sure that while you're consistently getting this deficit, you are regularly and consistently training. Okay. You're lifting weights, you're challenging the muscles, you're telling your body, hey, I know we're in this tear down mode because we're not eating a lot of calories, but we still need to retain this muscle.
Yeah.
And then over the long course of time here, the more muscle we can keep as we're losing this fat and, dropping some weight, overall, it's just going to burn more calories day in and day out. So we're talking about all these, how are we trying to burn the most calories while consuming the less? Muscle is going to assist with that.
Yeah.
If you have more muscle on your body, every step you take, everything you pick up costs more energy.
Right.
Okay. So again, it's great for that long-term kind of deficit you're trying to build yourself into there.
Right. Now you have to pair that, obviously, as you're dropping, you have to pair that with consuming enough protein.
Which
because
is key component number 3 right
right.
now, right?
Yeah. So key component number 3, consuming enough protein to make sure that you're preserving your muscle and you're not overexpending or like basically burning away your muscle. So most people struggle with consuming enough protein. We've talked about this countless times. I think I talk about it with most of the members basically every day. But yeah, it's hard to keep the protein in when you're in a deficit because you have to control your hunger, and most people will kind of gravitate to something that's heavier that'll fill. Personally, for me, whenever I'm in a calorie deficit, I want to eat, or I focus on eating more protein-based things because it keeps me full longer.
No, yeah, it does have like a direct effect on your satiety, on controlling your hunger.
Right.
And so typically, I'm sure everyone that has done some sort of diet or done some sort of deficit has been in that boat where they're just like, sometimes you're like, ooh, I'm starving.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's sometimes you're kind of, you need to portion control better. Okay. It's like, I guarantee you, if you're someone who's just starving in this deficit, one, you might be, the deficit might be too big. So real quick, kind of derailing here. When we're talking about specific numbers and whatnot, a deficit here typically is going to be like 250 to 500 calories.
Right.
So some people that are saying like, oh, I'm starving every single day. We're not trying to go for that. So that typically means maybe you're going a little too hard.
Right.
So drop it down from 500 calories a day to like 250. But this is if you're tracking and everything. But sort of bring it back. It's just the protein is going to help so much with that feeling right there, because I tell some people, I'm like, look, if you're starving and you're saying you eat your meals and you're still hungry, I'm like, get a chicken breast and a half. Okay. Eat a chicken breast and a half first on your plate, and then tell me how hungry you are to eat the rest of the food. Majority of the time when people do that, they're just like, I can't eat anything else. Like that filled me up right there.
Right.
So you need to focus on getting the protein in, not just for your muscles, but for controlling the toughest aspect of this, which is your hunger.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what most people need to focus on is making sure that whenever they feel really hungry, that protein is an active choice. So, I mean, most people will struggle with finding something that they can eat or that they want to eat that's protein based. But in the first little while, you have to kind of, it may sound bad, kind of force yourself to choose to eat protein.
100%. Yeah.
You're
going to gravitate towards the delicious snacks.
Yeah.
One, you're limited in the calories you can eat. Now you're like, okay, in the limited calories, you're telling me I have to make most of this from something I don't want to eat.
Right.
But again, if you eat the snacks, if you eat the chips and all that stuff, that just makes you more hungry. And then that's lowering the amount of calories you're allowed for the rest of the day. So that's why you really need to start kind of figuring that balance out. And then, like we were saying, it pairs so well with the resistance training.
Right.
Okay? You need to be eating adequate amounts of protein to build and retain muscle.
Yep.
Because you could be resistance training, and if the nutrition's not there while you're in this deficit, we still could see muscle falling off. Even though you're like, I'm resistance training, but you're eating 60 grams of protein a day. It's like, we got to bump that up.
Yeah. I was talking with a member the other day, and I asked her how much protein she's eating, and she said she loves to eat meat. But when I asked her and we broke down kind of what she was eating, in her weight loss journey, I guess you could call it, she said we broke down that she was probably eating about 80 grams of protein. And when we looked at her in body, she should have been eating like 120 to 130 grams of protein. So we were like, hey, we got to bump up that, and then let's reduce a little bit of, she loves wine. So I was like, hey, let's reduce the wine a little bit. She's like, I drink it every other day. And I was like, okay, let's focus on doing it maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week. Or just Saturdays.
Right.
And then we'll go from there. And so that was a couple weeks ago this week. She said she already feels like she has more energy because she's dropped it to just drinking her wine on Saturdays, but she's also bumped up her protein.
Right.
So she feels less hungry because she's eating more protein. And then she's also feeling like she has more energy because she's not.
It's a win-win. Right?
Exactly. So I call that a win. But yeah, she's loving it. So yeah, making sure that you're prioritizing eating your protein, especially when you're in a calorie deficit, because you're going to be burning both fat and muscle regardless of.
And we need to preserve as much muscle as possible.
Yep.
So again, just to recap here, when the goal is fat loss, you're really trying to lose some fat, you need to understand these 3 components. You need to understand that you need to be in a caloric deficit.
Right.
Okay. This happens by eating less and moving more.
Right.
Okay. Then paired with that, you need to be strength training. Okay. You need to be resistance training because that is going to ensure you are keeping the muscle on your body, which is something that loves to drop off when you are in a deficit. And then the third thing with that, eat enough protein.
Right.
Okay. That pairs with the strength training, which pairs with the calorie deficit. Okay. So it's like it all ties in. And I guarantee you, like it's the secret formula: strength training, protein,
calorie deficit. Yeah.
If you follow that right there, you are straight, you're solid, you're going to reach your goals. Okay.
Yeah.
So just, get down to it.
Put your head down, get working.
You'll get used to it. It gets better.
Yeah. If you guys need any help with like extra ideas on what to eat, or like if you want a sweet treat or something, don't gravitate to like the things that are high in calories. Maybe come and talk to us. I know we all have our own like little hacks or cheats to get to the protein goal and eat a sweet treat. So yeah, if you guys ever need any help, let us know. We can help you out. But yeah, that's about it for today.
All right. Yeah. We'll catch you all next week.
Sounds good. Later.